First of all, Sergey, what is it that Auriant Mining does?
Auriant Mining is a junior gold mining company incorporated here in Sweden. Our holding company is incorporated in Sweden, listed on Nasdaq First North. We have 4 mining assets, gold mining assets in Russia, 1 producing mine, which is called Tardan, and 3 other assets. All our assets are located in Siberia. 3 of them are in close proximity to each other in Republic Tiva in Khakassia. It's 4.5 hours flight from Moscow. And then the last one, Salkakon, is located in Zabaikalsky Krai, another side of Baikal Lake, which is 6.5 hours flight from Moscow.
And last year, the Tardan mine produced more than 1 ton of gold. Comparing to the production levels of 2012, that's an average increase of more than 20% annually. What's your target for the coming years?
Talking about production, we need to keep in mind 3 things. One is grade, i.e. how much gold is contained in an ore we mine. Second thing to remember is recovery, i.e. how much gold can be taken from the ore in the process of recovery of gold on the factory. And the third one is if you have an access to ore in a year, and if this access is easy or it requires more or less mining works. Last year we have unusually higher high grade in ore. Our average grade was more than 4 grams a ton over the year, while if we talk about long-term average, our long-term average averaged across all the resources is slightly above 3 grams a ton. So our grade last year was, let's say, 1/3 higher than a long-term average. That's first thing. So we were mining more golden ore using the same volume of mining work. Another thing to remember, as I said, was recovery. With 4 grams a ton of grade, it means that we have some free gold in ore which can be taken in the gravitational process. In last year, our production on the gravitational process was almost 200 kilos, 170 if I'm not mistaken. This year, grades in ore on the main deposit which we were mining last year and we continue to mine in this year, this deposit called Barsuchi, this grade decreased to basically long-term averages 3 grams a ton or slightly less than this, which means that we have lesser free gold which can be produced on the gravitational. And out of reports we issued, you can see that production on a gravitational plant is substantially less than last year. With the technology we use, which is heap leach, our recovery rate fluctuates between 60 to 65%. It depends on the physical conditions of ore. Last year we were mining on an upper horizons of Barsuchi, which contains more oxidized ore than the lower horizons. So the recovery grade on the upper horizons of Barsuchi was slightly higher than we have this year. And the third thing to remember, as I said, was how easy we can get an access to the ore. Last year we were mining all ore from one ore body called Barsuchi. So we were concentrated on the one ore body, was making a stripping work on other ore bodies. In this year we have 5 ore bodies in work. We continue to mine Barsuchi, but as we go deeper, the ore body gets narrow and we can't get as much ore as we need this year. And we need to deploy other ore bodies. And we work on ore zone number 1, 3, 6, and 13 at the same time. So we work at 5 pits simultaneously, which makes mining work more complicated than we had last year. So quite obviously we operate in less, so to say, favorable environment in this year as compared to last year. And that's why our production is going to decrease down to 900 kilos. But again, we need to keep in mind that in neither ore body in the world, grades are distributed evenly. You can't expect to mine the same grades all the year, amongst all the years, without any, so to say, changes. Each year is different. We are in the resource business, and basically when we talk about resources, we talk about tons and we talk about years and million cubic meters. So basically, we need to look at the trend, we need to look at the average. Quite obviously, as we told before, our target production is 1 ton a year. 900 is not that much different from 1 ton. So we are fluctuating around 1 ton, which is targeted production.
And could you describe the process to market after you've mined the gold?
Well, the process is very easy. What we produce is so-called bar. It contains 60 to 80% of gold, some amount of silver, which goes together with the gold, and some other metals, primarily copper. This bar is shipped on the state-owned refinery plant, and on the refinery plant produces the gold bar with 999 gold concentration. This gold bar is sold directly to the bank, which provides us financing. Basically, since we shipped our bar to the refinery plant, we don't really see these gold bars again. What we see is money on account. We sell gold for US dollars. It's the only type of the good in the Russian Federation which is allowed to sell for the foreign currency directly. So we sell for US dollars, and we sell at London fixing. We can fix at any minute using the, so to say, online terminal with the bank, and basically we choose ourselves at what time to fix. And the decision to fix the sale is driven by 3 major parameters: when we need money, when the price is good, we believe the price is good, and when the exchange rate is good.
Yeah, talking about the future, apart from Tardan mine, you have other prospect areas. Could you talk a little bit about them?
Yes, I actually can talk a lot about these assets.
Try to keep it short.
I will try. I will do my best. So we have 3 assets except of Tardan. In the close proximity to Tardan, 200 kilometers, which is very close by our standards. On the south, closer to Mongolian border, there is another deposit called Kara-Beldyr, or KB for a short reason. The exploration on KB was done by Centerra Gold. It's a Canadian gold company which used to have operations in Russia. Centerra was aiming to basically explore a deposit which would be higher than 50 tons. And when the exploration was finished and the entire volume of resources was established at the amount of 26 tons, Centerra took a decision to sell this asset to Auriant Mining for future royalty. So basically, we purchased the deposit with no cash down payment, just for a future royalty payment, which will be 3.5% of revenue once the production starts. Last year, we established resources of that deposit under JORC code. It contains more than 26 tons of resources. 25 tons out of this 26 are in the projected pit contour. So we can envisage a production of more than 2 tons of gold over 10 years, taking into account that expected recovery is going to be 90% with CIL, that's the technology for recovery, to be applied. So it's pretty much a good business. Stripping ratio, which is a measure of how easy you can get access to the ore, is 4.2, if I'm not mistaken. It's around 4. It's very low. It's very low stripping ratio. Average grade is 2.8 grams a ton, a little bit lesser than 3, but still it's much higher than average grade worldwide. So it is expected to be a profitable mine with the margin of 35–40%, which we established based on our own studies. We need $76 million to deploy the mine, and it can be deployed in 3 years. Second assets, which is second close to production, so to say, is Solkokon. We used to produce there gold using heap leach processing back to 2014, but unfortunately heap leach processing was proved to be unsuccessful. Recovery of gold fell lesser than 50%, and basically it means that more than 50% of gold was wasted in tails. So we need to develop a new process for that resource base. We made initial tests last year in 2016, and we established a recovery rate of 84% if to use CIL, i.e. carbon and leach, or CIP, carbon and pulp process, which is substantial. It's not 90% as on KB, or 96% as expected on Tardan if we shift from heap leach to CIL, but it's still fairly good recovery percentage, much substantially higher than 50% we used to have on heap leach. Salcacon has 16 tons of resources, 1 ton alluvial gold and 15 tons of hard rock. In this year, we restarted alluvial production, which was shut down back to 2014. We expect to produce 60 kilos of gold a year. And we see that we have substantial resources to continue with alluvial production in 2018 and 19 and produce at least 100 kilos with targeted production 150, which will allow to finance exploration program, which we again recommenced this year, in the middle of this year. Salcacon has very good potential. It has more than 50 tons as the potential resources. It is located in the historically gold-bearing province when the gold was mined centuries ago. So it's a very promising area, and I'm very happy to say that we commenced this exploration program, that Salcacon can pay itself for the exploration program, not wasting resources of Tardan and not requiring the resources from shareholders for making this exploration. So basically, with restarted alluvial operation, we pretty much hope that Salcacon will be able to finish this exploration program in 3 years. And we hope that we'll be able to increase our resource base up to 20 tons of gold in ore suitable for CIL processing. And hopefully in 5 years we can start building or commence an operation of a new mine with a target operation of 2 tons. It's all about blue sky, but those blue skies are not too much blue. I mean, we already have resources. We do the exploration. We did exploration before, and we know that there is a gold there. We have a target for this year that we want to have 2 tons of gold as a resource this year, and on northeastern flank, and go on to another southern flank next year. So we have a plan, and I'm pretty much sure that it will be a great asset. And the third one is Uzunjul. It's a greenfield. It's located in the Republic of Khakassia. Again, it's quite close to Tardan. It's just 400 kilometers on north. Again, it's next door by our standards. It's more a greenfield, but it is located in the gold-bearing province, which has 2 producing mines, which gives us a sign that there is a gold there. Exploration was started back to the Soviet period. There was some drill holes, some trenches made, which shows that there is a gold there, but we can't say if it's going to be 1 ton or if it's going to be 10 tons. It's on an early stage right now. I not put any reliance, so to say, on these assets, and taking very cautious position toward this. And it has never been, so to say, accounted in our internal business plans.
And looking at the results from the past 12 months, it seems that you're already a profitable company. So what's the actual purpose for the rights issue that you're doing right now?
There are 2 major reasons why we do the rights issue, and I think it's a great step forward for the company. Indeed, you are right, we are a profitable company. But the company is quite heavily loaded with the debt. I think just wasting resources on heap leach, i.e. producing the gold, when we take just 60 to 65% out of ore and we waste another 35 to 40, it's not a very efficient way of doing the business. For the same operational cost, we can extract as much as 90% of gold or even more out of ore at Tardan. Investing relatively moderate amount of money into upgrading of technology, just for the extra gold we can produce from PB, that's the most promising deposit on Tardan, we can pay for the investments and have a great return. We can reprocess our tails and extract another ton of gold out of this. We need resources for upgrading our production facilities. Being loaded with the debt, it's quite difficult in Russia, I have to admit, to have a debt which will last for 10 years. We managed to refinance our debt and extend the payback period up to 5 years, but still quite a lot of money will be used for repaying, paying back the debt, while we need money for investments. I think it's a great investment. If we will, when we will upgrade our production facilities, we will substantially increase our operational cash flows, and we will be able to start to invest to another gold properties we have. We have 50 tons of resources while producing just 1 ton of gold. Having 50 tons of gold resources means that we can produce as much as 5 tons. But we need to deploy our other assets. And the next target is certainly KB. We need money for this, and creating a good cash flow on Tardan mine, that's certainly a good step in the right direction.
And finally, why do you think our viewers should invest in Auriant Mining?
There are 3 or 4 reasons why I do believe this investment is a good idea. First, we have a good resource base, and I must admit that having 53 tons of gold in the resources and producing just 1 ton of gold using the heap leach with quite low recovery rate, it's not how we shall produce in 5 years' time. We have all the chances in the world to produce 5 years, and everything we need is just investments. But we have all the chances to just on the existing resource base to produce much more. And with 3, let's say, even if we'll have 3 tons of production, you can imagine that our EBITDA will grow very substantial, which must at some points in time be reflected in the company's capitalization, market capitalization. Second idea is that Russia is a low-cost environment, so to say. National currency, Russian ruble, is to a large extent follows the pattern of oil prices, and with oil prices decreased twice from its peak back to 2014, the Russian national currency decreased disproportionately from 30 rubles per US dollars in 2014 down to 60 in 2017, which means that all our costs are locked in rubles, and in dollar terms, our expenses are, our costs are twice less than 3 years before. That's quite a unique opportunity. We are the only gold producing company in the world which enjoys this weak national currency environment, which allows us to keep costs at a low level. That's second thing to remember. Even with heap leach, last year our margin was almost 50%. That's incredible. I mean, just imagine that we had CIL last year, which would allow us to produce 90%, recover 90% of gold out of ore. Then our margin would be 70%. I mean, that's very good business. Third one, we are undervalued. To a large extent, this is because we're not delivering for years. And I think now we have all the chances in the world to change. And the fourth one is we have a team which can deliver, and we want to make company different. Not to say want to make it great again, but we want to make it great first time in its history.
Okay. With that, I want to thank you for coming and wish you good luck in the future.
Thank you very much for asking all these interesting questions.